Hello, my name is Jackie and I am all about great food. I'm currently learning how to cook more from scratch, learning how to source the food that I can't grow myself locally and from as close to the producer as possible. In this video, you and I are going to learn whether radish chips is a snack that's going to change our lives and whether this easy to grow vegetable deserves a place in our gardens. Now, when I say chip, I mean this, not this. Now, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to use two different recipes. So I'm going to use a version of the recipe that I found in the cookbook. There's a couple of things that I've had to substitute out. And then I'm going to use a simplified version. I'm going to try and make a basic sea salt chip out of these radishes. So first of all, we need to slice these up into rounds. They're between 2 and 4 mils-ish. It would be much easier if you had a mandolin. Of course, I couldn't find mine today, so I had to make do without. Now, do not throw away those radish tops. They are amazing to use. I have an upcoming video with what to do with those, so stay tuned for that. Now, I have split the radishes into 2 lots. It's about 360 grams per bowl. So just an observation in this point of the process, you will see that I have a number of different types of radishes in this. This is because I used a mixed radish seed packet. This might give us mixed results because obviously different varieties of radish may react in different ways to being dehydrated. I don't know. So we're just going to find out. So in the future, I probably wouldn't do a mixed lot. I mean, the advantage of this is that we find out whether or not we like some radishes and some we wouldn't invite for dinner. First of all, we're going to put together the radishes for the recipe that I found in that recipe book. Now, I'm just going to read my trusty notes down here. So the spices are 3 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground allspice. Now, we only have allspice berries, so I just ground up 3 allspice berries. So all of that is going in with that 350 grams of sliced radishes. Now, the recipe calls for 1.5 tablespoons of maple syrup. I realised that I didn't have maple syrup, so I'm actually going to use golden syrup. It is quite different, but we're going to give it a go. Now, the recipe also had sugar. I don't want to put sugar in it, so I'm just leaving the sugar out. So I'm going to put 1.5 tablespoons of golden syrup in. So that took quite a lot of mixing, but I've now got all of those radishes covered in those spices and the golden syrup. Next, we're going to put together our sea salt version. Okay, so I'm going to use 1.5 tablespoons of oil, closer to 2 tablespoons, and I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons of salt. And I'm going to use my hands just to mix that up. I'm actually going to put in another 2 teaspoons of salt. I do have a dehydrator, so I'm going to put those into my dehydrator at 50 degrees for 8 to 10 hours. The recipe actually said at 52 degrees, but my dehydrator only goes up in 10-degree increments. On dehydrators, if you don't have a dehydrator, I have a very, very simplistic one. It was a couple of $100 a couple of years ago, but it's nothing flash. Okay, so that has turned into 4 trays of dehydrated radishes. So that was a lot of radishes and it didn't turn into a lot. I'll now put these into my dehydrator at 52 degrees for 8 to 10 hours. Future Jackie, will see you in a sec. I have results. So first of all, you might note how teeny tiny they are. Radishes hold a lot of water. Now, they hold a lot of water anyway. It's also been raining here for 3 weeks. And so they had even more water in them. So they are very small. This is the biggest one. These are the biggest ones, and most of them, a lot of them, actually came out like that. These are my sea salt ones. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is that it's been very high humidity here. I had my dehydrator on for 24 hours, and they were still not brittle. So the recipe said they will be brittle. They are not brittle. I finally, because it was heating up the house so much, I finally turned off the dehydrator and just put them as they are. I'm not too sure whether that's just because we are very, very humid here at the moment. It's been, as I say, it's been raining for 3 weeks. So it could be that we're just really, really humid. Still undecided about that aspect. The third thing is they are not going to replace chips. Not at all. I don't love the recipe out of the book. Admittedly, I didn't include the sugar and I used golden syrup instead of maple syrup, but we're probably not that sweet spice family. The salt ones could actually be quite good, but I used too much salt. I think what I did was I put in 2 teaspoons of salt and then added another 2 teaspoons. I wouldn't add that extra 2 teaspoons of salt at all. Just having 2 teaspoons of salt and probably just having salt and pepper might be the plan. Would I call it a success? No, I would not call it a success. I will try it again. We have some people staying with us this weekend. It's Easter, and so we have people staying with us, and they've tried these and they really like them. So it might just be my family don't love them, or maybe I just don't love them. I haven't actually tried them out on Tommy as yet, my son. I probably wouldn't call it a success. I will try the salt and pepper version again. I don't like the recipe that I found in that book, but I think we found an interesting way of using radishes that I actually hadn't thought of before. So from that point of view, it's a slight success and something that I will continue to play with as time goes on. So there's the joy of trying out recipes along with you guys rather than trying these recipes out beforehand. Your family might like the recipe that I tried for these ones. So I would encourage you to experiment yourselves and see how it goes. And perhaps if you have a slightly less humid climate, it won't take you 24 hours to try and dehydrate your radishes. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon.